And good evening to everybody, and welcome to a very dry Monza. Also, welcome to myself to a very ill Jacko, unfortunately. However, despite how ill I am, at least I am here, and like a certain Northern Irishman. I am today joined by two Welsh people. This wouldn't happen very often, although last night I was surrounded by a number of Welsh people at the old Beyonce concert in Cardiff. But anyway, enough of that, because nobody really cares. Good evening to Jamie Griffiths, and first of all, Barry Baldwin, my co-commentator. How are we, Barry?
Good evening, Jacko. Good evening, Jamie. Yes, it's good to be back in the comm box, and yeah, as you said, nice sunny skies in Monza's to get those qualifying set off.
Yeah, fantastic. Of course, Barry, you've won here in the Kia Series, and our driver commentator, Jamie Griffiths, has won here in the Cup Series, so I think, despite the fact that both of you are Welsh, probably two very well-placed people to help commentate over the events this evening. Jamie Griffiths, before we introduce you properly, what is the weather saying? Do you know?
I hate to be a disappointment, but it's just dry. It's as bone dry as you can get.
That's fine, because I remember very vividly the race you won here in, was it season 4? That was bone dry.
Yep, it was.
And
yeah, I'm just thankful it's not wet.
That's fine. That race was won by a winning margin of 0.033, a league record, which has stood up to now.
Actually.
However, who's the lead commentator here? However, was matched earlier this season when Mike won in Canada with Kyle Smith in P2 with the same margin. So yeah, Jamie, what does it take to win around Monza? Of course, yours was quite an epic finish, I remember.
Yeah, well, the one I won around here was on the Joker, so I don't know if my advice to anybody wanting to win here would be as useful, unless there are people on the Jokers tonight, which I don't believe there are.
No Jokers, no.
But yeah, it's just keeping it on the track, basically, and just timing your strategy right. Basically, as important as any race. Just keep your nose out of everything and you'll get there. Obviously, I had to fight off some pretty quick guys on softs at the end of that race on some pretty worn, I think it was softs, but I held them off into the last corner, and of course Jake had that dive bomb on me.
Yes, into Parabolica.
That allowed both of them through, and they both crashed coming to the line, and I couldn't believe my luck that day. It's probably the luckiest moment in league racing I've ever had. I don't get that much luck.
You certainly make your own luck here in JACKOCAR. Bazza, your win here in season 3 or 4 of the Kia Series.
Season 3.
Yeah.
And it was mixed conditions. Started off wet, went to inters, and then was bone dry. And again, like Jamie, it was also on my Joker as well.
Oh, was it? I forgot that bit. Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yes, because I had the likes of yourself and somebody else was in the party with me. Yeah, and you basically told me to stay out, so I stayed out an extra 12 laps on intermediates on a dry track due to safety cars being out as well. And then yeah, I put softs on towards the end and just held on, because obviously when it dried up and the safety car went back in, everyone dived into the pits to do the second stops. I had done my one and only stop and held them off.
And of course, that was at a time when JACKOCAR was run slightly differently. You could, if you had the luck with the way the safety cars played out, if you'd already made your pit stop, it certainly gave you that advantage. It was covered in the JACKOCAST episode with Gareth, where he talked about the Nils Championship win from season 2. But certainly same scenario for you, Bazza, when you won that race. So technically, all three of us have won here, in theory. If you're going to look at it in a NASCAR sort of way, which of course the league does encourage, the the NASCAR influence. Jacko, the crew chief, getting a race win under his belt. But attention must turn to qualifying. We've seen all of OKK's lap, but we've barely talked about him. Here he is then, first out this evening, only 19 cars. The number 97, Michael OKK, has a snap through Parabolica. Might have been a bit of lag, but because of it, he invalidates, and what a great shame. And he will start down in P19 unless anybody else disqualifies themselves. His miserable form continues, and maybe next season is his season. We say it every time, but maybe. Surely it's got to come. It's got to turn good for him. As we look at Quinn then, Barry, he said earlier he may not be able to race, but here he is.
Yes, different livery again. Kind of liking this one. Don't know about you guys, it's kind of got the Freddy Krueger vibe to me, but as you know, he's coming around Parabolica now, so he'll be the first one to set a time because he is not invalidated, and it's a 1:20.7.
A time that I fully suspect will be beaten later on then, as we move on to Risky Racer, Speed Risky 37, or Sullivan Lewis, however you wish to refer to him. Broke the news to me, oh, he's invalidated, about 10 minutes ago, that he is able to make next week's race, which will give him a shot actually at making the Championship 5 should he win the chase. But he's going to have to start Monza from the back. And what about the Season 1 champion then, Pete Knighton? Jamie Griffiths, if you're still in the garage, do you want to do a lap over Pete?
Yeah, I'll happily do so. He's coming through the Curva Grande right now. A little bit on the curve there. That's probably going to cost him a couple hundredths there. It comes into the first sector split. This is a 26.2. Now going into the Della Roja, clouts both curbs and keeps it on the racetrack. Nice bit of traction out there going into the first Lesmo right now, and nice and clean through there as well. Looks like a decent lap so far from Pete, as long as he can keep it valid going into the second Lesmo here. Doesn't do what Risky does and try and take all that racetrack to the left-hand side, which doesn't do you any good because it will invalidate you. Under the bridge, coming towards the end of the second sector, the 26.9, that beats Quinn's second sector time as he comes through Ascari. A flag on my screen, I don't know if you can see that, but he's keeping it valid so far, Pete, and that is, of course, crucial if he wants to start higher up on the grid as he comes down into Parabolica, breaking it just to pass the 50-meter board there, shifting up into sixth gear, coming out of the corner. Out of Parabolica now, and the run to the line. What's it going to be for Pete? It's going to be a 1:20 flat, and it beats Quinn kind of by 7 tenths. Pete's showing good form in qualifying lately, isn't he?
He absolutely has been, as we see Quinn retire there. Who am I looking for? It is Wasabi. We're on him. So is Rico back in camp? By the way, I'm just going to address this now because Rico's only the reserve driver, so it doesn't really matter what he does. He can invalidate or crash, or keep it valid for all I care. But this camera angle for Ascari is absolutely disgusting. Why are we limited? Oh, please, EA, change that for 2023. Anyway, the reserve who's replacing Tez and Connor, I know, comes through Parabolica then, does the Dutchman. And up to the line comes Rico. He will go P3, but valid at least. We move on to Jess Bull. And here's that camera angle again, Barry.
Yeah, she's coming through the Scary. According to the game, as always, perfect sector 2, but we'll ignore that. She got up into 8th gear, coming to the Parabolica now. Keep it in the lines, don't run too wide because it will invalidate you. Nice and tidy from her. And I expect a 1:21, maybe a high 20s. It's a 1:21.7. She is currently the slowest with a set time.
But a set time nonetheless. And here, attention turns to Michel Goris then. On his way, or certainly sniffing, a Championship 5 run in a couple of weeks' time in the Kia Series. Yourself and I, Barry, fighting out to be there with him. But certainly next season he will not be in Kia because he is far too fast. As we see Rico getting disqualified, was that? So OKK will start 18th then. Michelle, go on.
Sorry, I just saw him quickly. He'd done a Lewis Hamilton coming out of the first Lesmo and went into the wall, and obviously he has had to wait because Michelle was coming through. and I think he's just waited there too long, and the game being the game.
I just realised.
Unfortunately,
I'm late going out onto the track by about 5 seconds.
That's all right. We'll let that slide. But yeah, so
as Michelle does go P2, by the way.
Michelle goes second. Who am I looking for? Leroy is who we're looking for. Oh, awful camera angle. So Leroy is the chase leader in the Cup Series at the moment. And he is 4 points clear of Ben Harrett, 6 points clear of Michel Goris, who we've just seen. But into Parabolica comes the Season 4 Kia champion, and looking to go straight into the Championship 5 in the Cup Series and challenge the likes of Ben Shaw and Jake O'Sullivan. It's only P4 for now, but more to come from Leroy later this evening. He could have won this race last season if it wasn't for team speed, manipulating and manufacturing a win for Gareth.
I'm still mad about that.
Here comes Ben Harrett, then out the second Lesmo, a man who finally has his first win in the league, and as soon as he got that, Leroy went and won his second. But a man, like I said, only 4 points off the lead of the chase, and can certainly do something about that this evening. Obviously 2 races left, but it takes one bad result for your rival when you're back in the lead of that chase. We've seen it swing so many times. Of course, Corey last season, he was 25-point deficit, and he turned it around and went to Miami to fight for a title and finish P2. But here comes Ben Harrett, the man of the moment, the midfield man, now a race winner in the Cup Series. He comes up to the finish line, and it's P2. It's a good lap from Ben Harrett.
As we a very good lap.
Now move to the playoff drivers then, Mr. Baldwin, MK Bourne.
So, okay, that awful little camera angle again.
Yep.
But he's kept it balanced so far, and he might get a little bit of a slipstream off Leroy just ahead of him as he pulls to the left to take the Parabolica. Also, and he's spun it. He's kept it out of the wall, and he's kept it valid. But unfortunately, it's going to be a poor time for him.
Yeah. We will move away swiftly and focus on the man who is also in the booth with us. What's the inspiration behind that livery, Jamie?
Lotus.
Of course it is. I won't distract you through your corners and your breaking points. I did to Kieran because I don't like him. Lesmo 1 then for Jamie Griffiths. Short shoot up to Lesmo 2. Lovely bit of track here if you get it right. I remember me and you, Bazza, we've had many a battle in in Monza over the years, and TGP and ILR, and of course JACKOCAR. Yes. But down under the bridge and the old bank, and then comes Jamie Griffiths and into the first part of Ascari here. Kept it. Never mind. He was distracted. you call me a bastard?
No, that's me calling the game the bastard.
Spins for good measure does the man from somewhere in Wales. Nobody cares because it's irrelevant. Next up, Yuri Hazelager then. Where is he? He's P8 at the moment. And Yuri...
races in Kia has gone purple in Sector 1.
Yep, not for much longer, I assure you.
Yeah.
Yuri, of course, flying into the UK tomorrow to help with Championship 5 filming day on Saturday. Of course, it's all starting to get towards the business end now of the season. Only 14 drivers left in contention. There's a handful left in Kia as well. That's shaping up to be a good finale as the Kia Series heads to Australia, and there's an invalidation. The Cup Series will head to Silverstone. You're getting it all wrong for Ascari.
According to my graphics as well, I don't believe he was using DRS. We're still in the 90s going for that. But never mind, he's invalidated anyway, so...
Yep, it's Kyle Smith for you.
Yeah, I take Kyle, so right, he's coming into the Parabolica now. 53 dead, split time in Sector 2. In his ART colours, across the line, and it's going to be close to pole. It is pole position.
Just into the 119s as well. And speaking of Wales, as we have done a lot recently in this stream, Kyle has now moved to Wales. Shout out to his dad, Scott, who I imagine will be listening in the stream. Who's next? Is it Kieran? It is Kieran. There he is. So yeah, Kyle, about 20-30 minutes north of Cardiff now. I wouldn't normally agree with a move to Wales, but anything's better than Coventry. Into Parabolica comes his rival Kieran. Of course, Kyle no longer in contention for this year's championship, but Kieran could be on his way to a championship once again. He goes P3. Next up is Casper, the man who has no self-belief, but has once again made it to the round of 6 in JACKOCAR in the Cup Series. Italian-style livery. What do you think of that one, Bazza?
A bit more white on it. It'll be nice, but it's not bad. And yeah, he'll be hopefully high in confidence after getting P2 last week. So yeah, he should be hopefully on for another good run. Like you said, though, he's kind of out of contention, so he's just going to try and rack up the points and get them on the stats.
Of course, it's all about stat padding. Lots of drivers like to try and get their numbers as high as possible. Driver retention so good in JACKOCAR these days. And a lot of these names that you've seen around for a while making the stats look ever more impressive with each race, but that is an invalidation for Casper. Not ideal. I must admit I didn't see where he invalidated, but it is red, so he will be no higher than 15th. As we'll now look then, as Gareth Hall likes to call it, the Big Four. First up, Jamie Wright, 2-time champion. Can he go and three-peat? He is the only man in the league to have 2 league titles. And even despite that, was unable to defend the first one. It is such a hard league to win a championship in. But Jamie Wright keeps it valid through Ascari like not many have done before him. Only 9 valid laps so far. The long run down to Parabolica then in this livery that we've seen near enough every week this season. It looks good, does the rose gold. And through Parabolica comes Jamie Wright. Is it going to be good enough for provisional pole? Up to the line he comes. It's only P4. Ooh. He's well off form. That's it.
Is
Gareth
there, though?
Is he still on pad?
He is still on pad, yeah. He's given up with Will because he's rubbish. It's Gareth Hall then, Bazza.
Right, where is he? Fastest man in speed, as he likes to say. Our main commentator in Kia. And he's about to cross the line. And he takes P5.
Good lap.
20.5.
As we see...
Definitely happy with that.
He will be happy with that. He is... Oh, a little slide from Iceman. Of course, Gareth knocked out last week in Mexico. That's the 2nd season in a row he's been knocked out at the same track. Iceman really pushing the limits on the exit of Lesmo 1 here, but it was purple sector 1 according to the game into the 2nd DRS zone then here at Monza, and under the old track once again. The man who's been on pole 7 times this season, 17 in his Cup Series career. Can he get Ascari right? Yes, he can. And now it's just 1 corner to go for Iceman with 1 car behind him. That's Jake O'Sullivan. They've been nose to tail all season, these two, trading fastest laps and wins and poles and laps led. Ben Short, the man from somewhere just east of Liverpool, goes P1. I was struggling to find something to say there, wasn't I? What about Cadman, though?
No, his main rival.
Yeah, not as committed through the Lesmos, actually. And I didn't see the purple flash up, so maybe Iceman looking at another pole here, potentially. What can Jake do?
Yeah, he was quicker in sector 2, though.
Yes, he was. Good spot from Bazza there.
Iceman pulled it back in sector 3, I think, on Kyle's time. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, well, here he comes then, Jake O'Sullivan, the Season 5 champion, and has been on top form ever since then. One of the league's best. What can he do here in Italy? Jake O'Sullivan to the line. It's P1. Oh. What a stunning final sector from Jake. And I think you'll find that is another pole position. Of course it is, but what number this season? I don't have the stats available because I'm unprepared. What an absolute shame. It's his 7th pole of the season. And all-time, that is number 9 for him. So almost into double figures up there with the big names, Ben Shaw, Arnaud de Grief, Khalifa, and so on. So there he is. It's the same 1 and 2 as we've come to get to know very well this season. Round 15. But also Kyle and Pete, cracking laps to be up there. Jamie Wright would not be too impressed about being P6. But he is there nonetheless, certainly in the fight, still with a shot of making it to the champ.
Happy with P6.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh. We'll take P6 with a Shell and Quinn round out the top 10. Then only 3 more drivers who actually set laps in the form of Leroy, Jess and Mike. And then the rest of them, which are running number order, in with a shout of winning the chase. And he always has a good couple of races, and this is one of his better ones. So we'll look to see what Risky can do later on in the race. But as flagging, it better not be. Not a lot I can do about that, unfortunately.
Seems fine for me.
Okay, it's a tyre issue then. And a couple of things going on in the chat. Way's not happy with the Wales slander. It is what it is. And also, welcome back. Here's an old one for you, Bazza. Welcome back to Bill in the JACKOCAR chat. Do you remember him?
Oh, hello, Bill. Yes, I remember Bill. It was the season 1, season 2 in JACKOCAR, yeah.
Yeah.
Disappeared.
This, whilst we've got Bill prominent in our minds, let's have a look at his Cup Series stats. 6 starts, 20 points, 4 laps led, with 1 top 10 finish. It was a P10 actually. 2 DNFs, and he was active as a reserve driver in seasons 1 and 2. He took 1 stage win as well. That was his only playoff point he ever scored, and sits 51st all time in points out of 75 drivers. So not the best, but good to see a legacy name. One of the ILR names actually.
Yes, I was thinking, yeah, it was definitely ILR when we first met him, wasn't it? Yeah. And then he followed suit to JACKOCAR like most of us did, and most of us still here.
He's saying nothing to be proud of in the chat of his stats. So, well, if you come back, Bill, you might be able to improve them. Always on the lookout for more drivers. Jamie Griffiths, we should really put our attention to you because you've got the weather in front of you, and we've neglected you so far.
Well, first 2 slots are just sunny. The rest is sun and cloud. So, yeah, dry all the way through. No issues there.
Well, good enough.
Tyre wear is also very bad compared to how it is on this track in recent games. So, yeah, could be a couple tyre issues today.
That sounds like something that you're going to have to manage throughout the race then. We will pay attention as it's a slow formation getaway from a lot of these drivers. I'm not sure what went on there.
Are we advised to take the formation lap seriously? Because about 3 guys jumped the start there.
Only 3 people have decided to go on the mediums, interestingly.
Yes, you are, Jamie. Let's get some of these things up that people like to see, and then we'll talk about everything else. So, Jake nabbing a pole off of Ben once again. Kyle and Pete up there. Let's go on board with Jamie Griffiths all the way down in P17 as he warms his tyres up. The driver comms gets asked this every week, but on the formation lap, Jamie, what are you trying to achieve here, or are you not taking it seriously?
Tyre temps. Just get the tyre temps to a working range. That's the main thing. And just, parking on the grid isn't as important as you may think. I've had good starts from where I've been disqualified from that, so I don't tend to worry too much about that. It's just more about the tyres. Get the tyres warmed up and make sure you don't run into anybody.
Yeah. And it's funny you should mention about the starting positions. I am notoriously the worst driver in the league when it comes to lining up on the grid. However, my starts are better when I get disqualified, I find. So
I've had that before.
It's something I do on purpose now. I pretend I'm going for the purple, and then I don't. But we'll have a look at a few of these drivers as they pull into their grid spots. Yeah, looking forward to this one. 27 laps, Mr. Baldwin. We love Monza. Turn 1 is a talking point.
Monza. Yeah, I mean, with Monza, it doesn't matter what conditions, it always provides exciting racing. So we've got no rain to worry about. All that's over in Imola, so we've got dry conditions. Yeah, turn 1 on the first lap. You know, you've got to make sure your brakes are up to temp. your tyres, because you might get a late breaker and it could cause a bit of chaos. Hopefully, you know, that doesn't happen. Everyone keeps it nice and clean and take it from there. And then it's kind of the same into the second chicane as well. So make sure everyone gets your braking right and have a clean first lap.
Indeed. Well, Jake nailed it, and I saw Gareth's name pop up about being disqualified. He ridicules me in the Kia streams about always getting it wrong. Well, Gareth, the shoe's on the other foot now, so I hope it all goes wrong, but it's almost time to go racing in Monza. It's the two fastest drivers in the league who start side by side, Jake and Ben, and it's lights out, and away we go for another Cup Series race once again.
Kyle's to start.
What a start from Kyle. We're going to watch further back and make sure there's all clean behind them. We see Michelle go slightly wide and Ben Harrett getting half spun. Pete's in the middle of this absolute melee, and Michelle and Jamie Wright come together. There's yellow flags out. Jamie Griffiths.
Get through that.
Did you get through it? Is that a safety car or a VSC?
VSC.
VSC. Okay, so let's look then at the winners and losers there. There they are. So the biggest winner is Jamie Griffiths, in fact, with 8 positions gained, and the biggest loser.
I got my incredible launch there off the line, and then into turn 1 and 2. It was just snail's pace. I was just focusing on getting myself through there. And I had to come to a complete standstill when I saw somebody spinning up in front. Somebody did hit me, but it didn't cause me any damage, so I'm all good.
No damage, so he's on his way, is Jamie Griffiths. The biggest loser was Michel Goris, who finds himself now in last place, 10 positions lost. Jess Games lost 5, and Jamie Wright also 6. That could be critical when it comes to the playoff situation. Of course, Casper and Yori currently in the drop zone, the elimination zone, but it can all change. And one win, as Basil knows full well, will change everything and how your season pans out. But VSC remains out then as we come towards the end of lap 1. Kyle, who jumped 2 positions on the start, leads this race, and lap 1.
A couple of drivers with no front wing. Yuri's one of them. Casper's the other. Casper's in the pits. Okeke has damage to the front right end plate.
Yep, as we see Ben Shaw get past Catchman there, practicing his moves for Silverstone in 2 weeks' time, and now Kieran is on the back of Jake. And it's safe to say there's a little bit of beef here after the last couple of rounds where Kieran has been racing like an absolute tit. We see him through the first chicane, or sorry, the second chicane, isn't it? And into the Lesmos goes Kieran, following Jake. But it's Kyle who leads this race and is pulling away, I dare say. 1.5 seconds is the lead.
He did have an electric start off the line. Like I say, he was into the lead, into turn 1. I just was on board with Michel Goris at the back. He's just done a double overtake around the outside of Curva Grande. So I'll clip that video for him and send it to him, because it was pretty nice on Jess and Wasabi. And
we missed it, but we didn't miss him getting past Risky there. I think slightly... hello, Jamie. Yes, he is going for a move on Quinn. Of course, Quinn not shy in coming forward. He will fight this all the way back down into turn 1. We are on board with Quinn, who Jamie elects to go defensive, probably using a bit of ERS there. Quinn settles back in behind and will pull out to the left once again. Into the braking zone they go into turn 1, but Jamie Griffiths completes the move for P8 from the back of the grid, or P17. It's going well for him there. We'll come back to you later in the race. But yeah, Michel certainly needs to get a few more positions, because his chase campaign is at stake here. Of course, coming into this 6 points behind. Ben Harrett is another one to keep your eye on, who's 4 points off Leroy. Where is Leroy? P10. And Ben Harrett doing a very good job up in P5. Of course, they have a win each. So the countback situation would go to second or third.
Pete in the wall. He's out of it, yeah.
Oh.
He just dropped it off Lesmo too. Right in front of me. Had to veer to avoid all the debris there. He just dropped it off Lesmo too. Maybe took too much of a run off there on the left-hand side and hit the wall quite hard and came back across and hit it again.
Okay, well, there you go.
Heart and mouth moment.
So you've heard it from Jamie Griffiths. because I missed it.
Yeah.
We see Kyle will stay out. It's Ben Shaw pits, by the way, which of course you can do under a safety car.
I thought it was after lap. Oh, it is after lap 3.
It is, yeah, it is. Yeah.
There you go.
So you're seeing a few of these now. Ben, Gareth, Quinn, Leroy, Kieran, Michelle, Rico, all making mandatory stops. I must admit, Bazza, I was half thinking much the same, actually. That it's not the right lap, but it is the lap counter hadn't turned over.
So,
I may
yes,
also want to
worked out
add, accidents like Pete's could become an occurrence in this race. It's very touchy on the traction out of Lesmo 2 and the Ascari chicane as well, especially with the high tyre where it's going to be a bit touch and go coming out of them corners. Yep. Especially with how unpredictable the grip is on this game. So
yeah, I agree with that. Ascari has always been quite tricky in the last previous games to get right. It's very tricky to take full throttle from there.
Yeah. And, with Pete's DNF, that means his season is over. He is eliminated from the chase, and he'll have to come back in season 8, would you believe? All the way up to season 8 now. What a shame for Pete. Just as he was finding form, so I guess he can look at that as a positive, because his, I know if you ignore the crash in Saudi Arabia, he was having a very good race. His qualifying has been really good of late. So a man starting to re-find his form as he goes 108 races now without a victory.
Yuri got a rear left puncher in that. I assume he's taken up the debris, because I was just on board with him, going extremely slow in the pits. He did have a rear left puncher.
I think Yuri's about to go a lap down as well.
He's going to go a lap down.
there was a lot of debris there. I had to avoid a lot of it myself. I don't know where Yuri was in all of it, but a lot of front wing end plates and stuff were flying across the track, and it was basically blocked for a split second.
I
was lucky myself not to get anything.
To get rid of the hard tyres as well.
Fair enough. It's a move I respect. What are the laps? Sorry. What are the stages? Laps 6 and 13 or 7 and 13?
7 and 13.
Thank you very much. You'd have thought the league owner would know that. There is Kieran. He'll be thrilled by the news that Yuri's a lap down and Casper is only P13. In fact, Jamie Wright, Ben and the other one. Who's the other one? Jake. They will all be thrilled by that because they are the top 4 at the moment in the playoff standings. However, next week we go to Paul Ricard, and not just Paul Ricard. In JACKOCAR it's a little bit different. We have the Super Speedway. No rules, quotation marks, no rules at least. And these drivers are going to be pack racing. They're going to be side by side for the entire race. Certainly one that we look forward to. And Kieran and Risky, I did catch that on stream. That looks like it could be a 30-second penalty for Kieran, as per the new rules, messing about under safety car. Bazza, if you just make a note of that for me somewhere. Lap 5, Kieran, Risky, safety car. And then that'll go to VAR afterwards, but I'm sure we brought in a rule that now means that's a 30-second penalty.
Right, that's noted. I've got a question for Jamie. Sat in P4 on your softs, how are you tired? Oh.
Never mind.
Never mind, sorry. Never mind.
I was coming around pit window anyway, so the stop was going to happen soon. Yeah, tyre weight is falling.
Okay.
Left rear, the last time I checked, it was about... Lesmo 1 was on 47 after just 5 laps on softs, so... If that gives you a bit of a gauge on how bad the tyre wear actually is.
It's going to be interesting to see what the top 3 do then on these softs.
Yep.
Especially for Ben, you know, because he needs the points for the chase to get back ahead of Leroy. And Leroy's already made a stop.
Yes, and his other rival Michelle has made 2 stops, 1 non-mandatory, 1 mandatory. Jamie Griffiths, by the way, comes out behind Yuri, who conveniently pulls over. Well timed there. That is legal, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. But what Kieran and Risky did is not.
Oh, I thought you said illegal.
No, legal. L. So yeah, Jamie at the back then of the grid, but has now made his one safety car stop that he's entitled to. You now must make one more mandatory after the completion of stage 2. So that'll be lap 14 onwards. And
Safety
everybody,
car on
yeah, everybody up to P7s then. So 7th to 17th, or 7th to 18th actually, has made their first mandatory. The top 6 are all ART drivers. Don't know if you noticed that, guys, but Bazza, you make a very valid point about Ben Spurs. What does he do here?
Yes.
And he has to be really quite considerate of his own season and what is at stake, because, you know, at least he has the safety car stop in hand should he need it, so race is not ruined. But we're going to have to cut away from that and look at the restart. It's ART from ART from ART times 2 in Jonathan Ledgard speak. And here goes Kyle then, restarting lap 7 here in Monza. And it seems to be all fairly chill. Ben Harrett looks to the outside of Jake, moving further back. 4 wide as we run down into turn 1. Oh, and there's a spinner. There's multiple spinners. Ben Shaw's in the middle of it. And this could be another safety car here.
I'm thankful that I took that pit stop now, because I probably would have been right in the middle of that.
Well, here we go. It's all kicking off further up through Curva Grande. It's Risky, Iceman and Leroy. I wonder if Ben Shaw has some damage, or if he's just been out-dragged to the first, or the second chicane. There must be a name for it, guys. Help me out.
Della Roger.
Della Roger.
That's the
We call it. I knew there was a name.
I kind of caught a glimpse. I think.
Oh, Risky! What a save! Oh no, he's lost it again on the exit of the second Lesmo. Sorry, Bazza.
Sorry, it's alright. He's in the middle of the road. Everyone's.
I can't find him.
Had to go grass. I don't know what he was going to do.
Unbelievable driving from the other 17 guys who all slipped through without damage. And in all of that, Kyle has lost the lead to Jake, who is going to win the first stage here. That would be tactical, surely, from ALT. That point means that... Oh, he's going to pit. He's going to pit. Kyle will win stage 1 then.
No. Oh, Jamie, Ben's in as well. J-Luke's in.
It's all
going on them softs.
It's all happening. You know something's gone wrong when Quinn is P4 in the Cup Series.
Leroy is good. He was looking, but he's a bit too far back to go for a move into turn 1 against Ben. Ben's twitchy. Leroy's going to take the position. And after Kyle makes his pit stops, Leroy is your race leader.
Yes, he is. And of course, another race win in the Cup Series, in the postseason no less. That is brilliant form to be showing as you head towards a Championship 5. And of course, Leroy knows how to win them. He came close on 1 and won the season after.
Going back quickly on that restart, it looked like it might have been a KK that has hit Ben Shaw's side pod damage, possibly. There was a bit of a whack, but there was chaos. There's so many cars going off.
Yeah, a lot certainly happened, and I did see a KK spinning, but couldn't quite pick out everything that went on there. As Iceman will try and stay with his teammate. MK Bourne picks up a 3-second penalty.
On the inside of Gareth.
And this is for position, by the way.
Done.
Jamie Griffiths, somewhat of a Monaco master. The train behind him. And Leroy now leads the race.
Kyle's going to drop down the field. Takes them one soft, fresh set of boots. And away he goes.
Kyle Smith has led all 8 laps so far. Of course, remember the most laps led playoff point awarded to the driver who leads the most during a race. He will come out around that P11 mark, right with Jake. In fact, he's well ahead of Jake. But that is your battle there. Keep an eye on that one. Risky's with him as well. He was in that fight, the melee on the restart. Jamie Griffiths, the only man on soft tyres at the moment. Of course, one mandatory stop done. And Ben Harrop, with that later stop, is down in P14. So should another safety car come out, keep in mind he can pit under it and it be mandatory.
Quinn's having a decent race up in P3.
Oh, Risky's gone. And that's a dangerous place to be. Same corner, actually, where he lost it earlier. There's two other cars off with him. Jamie Wright is one of them. Struggling to get back on the track here, Bazza. I wonder if they were put off by Risky, who's now been allowed to pass. Casper's allowed him to pass. He must have a puncher. There's something wrong with that car.
Yeah.
Or is it the driver? Oh, he's letting Jamie Wright back through.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's a Casper error then, and he...
He's got front
I
wing
caught
damage.
that. Yeah, he does have front end plate damage. But Jamie Griffiths battling away once again with Kieran and Gareth, who gets around his outside.
Almost wiped out Kieran there. Was a bit late on the brakes and almost ploughed into the side of him. So,
It's all right. If ever in doubt, if you're going to hit someone, at least make it Kieran, because it doesn't matter what happens. He'd do the same to you. A little bump and run, a little tap on Gareth going in the Lesmo one there from Jamie Griffiths. Michelle recovering on the hard tyre in P7, so not going too badly now for him.
Casper's in. Change front wing. Fresh set of softs to run till stage 2.
Yep, Casper now will be praying for a safety car. And let's
Jamie
just...
Gareth side by side again. It's a nice easy move again for Jamie. We've
Yep.
got a yellow flag. That is Wasabi is round. He's dropped it coming out of Ascari.
just about got off track in time as the ART boys come through there. Massive difference in speed as well, so it was lucky. And Jamie and Gareth fighting. I remember, if you listen to the Gareth podcast, here they go again into turn 1. He said that Jamie Griffiths was one of the more fun drivers to race against, and he's proving that tonight. Did you listen to that one, Jamie?
Yes, I did. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, so I had no clue he said that.
Battle
But
for the lead, sorry to but in there, Ben's back into front.
Yep, and Leroy stays behind. But Quinn is here as well. Quinn is, he has pitted, hasn't he? He has.
He has, yep.
Wow. Say no more. Not sure what's got into him. Perhaps it's Luton Town getting promoted to the Championship playoff final at Wembley, where they will play Coventry. Personally, I couldn't think of two worse teams to get promoted to the Premiership. But here we are. It's a situation that has been given to us. But Quinn's certainly happy. His beloved Luton Town, which he is not local anymore, spurring him on to a P3 on track at the moment and in DRS of Leroy. So certainly going very well for him. What's happening with Jamie Griffiths? He's about to overtake Speed Gareth, and we'll get this one done before turn 1. You know, Gareth will stick his nose in there. Yeah, he's going to give you a little tap as well. There he goes. But this is one that's going to keep on going
until the end of next lap now. So it's easier said than done, but with the tyre wear around here, it's not going to be very easy at all.
Absolutely not. Those softs will be coming off soon, but you've got to try and get to the end of the stage. Jake O'Sullivan running P9 with Jess fighting Kyle into De La Rogier. Then I've just learnt that name. God, Jess almost swipes the back of Kyle.
Yeah, she almost did the same to Jake into turn 1 as well. Jake outbraked her into turn 1 and she just turned in, and it's good to see that she's not giving up. She's giving up the fight.
Well, perhaps she listened to the Gareth podcast as well, where she has to be more aggressive. OKK has gone around. Oh, no front wing. What a shame. Get this season done for OKK. He wants to put his feet up for the summer. What a shame.
Just quickly on pit stops, MK Bourne is still yet to pit. He's the only driver out there that's not stopped.
Thank you very much. Something I missed. Of course, you can make both your mandatories after the completion of the stage, which Looks to be what he's going to be doing then as he stays out then and goes on to lap 13. And the closest battle on track is this one. You'll never guess who. Jamie and Gareth.
I tried to get a switchback on him, but you ain't going to get a switchback for the second part of that chicane, are you?
No, you're not. And Yori having the best seat in the house with this one. Watching trading of positions every lap. And getting the blue flags in the process. Michelle is starting to close the gap to you guys. And we see Ben Harrett getting past Rico. Important move, another point. But of course his main rival, it sits in P2 on merit at the moment as well. So Ben Harrett needs to do something about this and probably needs a safety car. 5-second penalty for KK. He won't give a damn.
Oops.
And here goes Leroy then. What a move. And Quinn, tell you what, Quinn's getting involved here, boys. Into Parabolica become the leaders. One more lap. Oh, Quinn is going to spin in Parabolica! Oh. What a shame. Be careful, Jamie, because he is sat on the racing line.
He's kept it there, so good stuff.
Oh, no, Quinn!
Oh. Oh, dear. Don't bring out the safety car, please. Oh, bollocks.
Well,
I've used my safety car stop, so I have to wait until the restart to make another one now.
You had to do one more lap anyway.
Yeah.
So, that's taken out
unfortunate for
Yori.
MK Bourne, because he got collected in that as well.
MK Bourne can make a stop under the safety car.
Oh, he's not. Yes, because he's not stopped yet. So this will be his first mandatory.
It will benefit him actually. In fact, he is stopping. Going back to Quinn, that was definitely a dangerous rejoin, and there's no argument on that one because we were on board with it. That might spell the end of his Cup Series season. An error from Quinn, which you wouldn't expect him to make. The spin you would expect.
He just got his rear left tyre onto the grass as he was battling the leaders, and I think that with dirt on your tyres going into Parabolica, you're gonna lose a bit of rear end grip. I think that might have caught him out.
Yeah, and it was a shame as well because he was in a genuine
race
contention as well for the win.
It's just average intelligence for someone from Luton, to be honest. I know myself. I know someone from Luton.
Is it true that the Welsh hate Luton as well?
I'm not sure. There's a guy in my course in college that's actually from Luton, moved down to Wales last summer, so I actually know quite a bit about the place. But yeah, they're not the brightest people in the world. I'll say that much.
I'm from North Wales. I hate everyone.
So I'm from the south of England. I hate everyone, especially Northerners. Jamie Wright, I hope you're listening. The best thing about Luton, seeing as we're on a bit of a jokey run at the moment, apart from the M1 that leads either north or south away from it, is the airport. I went many years ago to Luton Airport and it was awful. I've never been to such a bad airport. But I went...
there is a reason why they made a TV show about that.
Yes, there was. But I went back to Luton Airport last year and they've done it up. It's actually a very nice airport now. But that's all the credit I will give Luton. It really is an atrocious place to live and visit. Anyway, back to the racing. OKK finds himself in the leader's train. Better. It's not, don't worry. But we've already had a... Waze is in the chat, by the way. Don't start him off.
he should know too.
He does. He lives in Cardiff.
I don't live too far from Cardiff myself. You mentioned earlier that Kyle only lives like 20 minutes away from Cardiff. So do I.
Yeah, I feel sorry for you. Jamie, right, safety car in this lap, but the train hasn't even caught up yet. There's people all over the track. OKK also in the way. He will get out of the way. He does know the rules better than most. And it's Iceman.
Might be a sitting duck here.
We'll watch Iceman and then we'll cut to you to see you get swamped by everybody. So, yeah. Iceman, Leroy, Kieran are the front three. And let's see what they do. OKK moves out of the way, and what a restart. Whoa. Oh no, it's lag. It was lag. What a restart from Gareth.
Everyone started going behind me, and they almost clouted into me. So that was a hairy moment.
Wide.
Here we go, guys. Look at this helicopter shot into T1. Gareth and G. Oh, what's going on there?
Right.
Leroy's lost it off the corner as well.
A lot went on there.
I'm in puncture risk, by the way. My left rear is on 81%.
Oh, you best find yourself a pit stop then, my son. As Gareth goes around the outside of you here, and we'll get that one done. Jake O'Sullivan, the points leader, now behind Jamie Griffiths, the driver commentator for this evening, and there's a spinner behind. It's Kyle who's gone around in Lesmo 1. Contact with Michelle, as Bazza says, and Kyle's beached. He can't move. He can incur a 30-second penalty, which he will do. Bazza, write that one down for me. We'll come back to that later. Of course, Kyle. Oh, he's going to go again. Kyle will.
Actually has wing damage from that contact with Kyle as well.
Not surprised. It was quite the hit. And Kyle, fortunately, already out of contention then of the playoffs, so it's not something that's going to affect his season, but it certainly has ruined his race as he hunts.
Might as well be driving with a puncture here.
Is it that bad?
Yeah.
Iceman and Leroy into the pits.
It's all right. They've all made it to the pits then. And
So,
look at
yeah,
this.
just
Here goes
quickly on
Gareth. Nope.
Oh, perfect.
Sorry.
BSC.
Quickly on the restart, Kieran outbroke himself, went to cut the chicane, and Wasabi had just ploughed down, forgot his brakes, and has gone into the side pod of him. So Kieran could be with some hefty damage as well on that car.
Yep. There is Kieran running in P3. So the pit stop situation is that.
Ooh.
Oh, Michelle. No, no, no. That's not what you meant to do. Leroy and Ben Harrop, the two main chase drivers that we're looking at. Down in P4 in the chase is Risky Racer. He finds himself in 15th. Never mind.
Was he on 530 points? So yeah, he's 18 points off. It's slipping away for Risky.
Yep. I think he's more excited just to race in France next week, to be totally honest with you. Like a lot of these drivers are. There will be 2 race seats available that I know of. If any Kia drivers are listening, contact me now. Or Bazzo if you want to race next week. Paul Ricard.
I will let you know by the weekend.
Thank you very much. But yeah, as I said,
Monza on time.
as I said, that will close the post-season for the Cup Series, and then Silverstone the week after. Another feature-long build-up, guaranteed. Live music, driver interviews. It's got it all to come. The highlight of the JACKOCAR season, the Championship 5 build-up, comes to you live right before the race begins. Yellow flag still out here. It's for an OKK spin.
Yeah, he's just letting people by. I thought he was beached, but he's doing the sensible thing, keeping out of the way. Yeah, like you said, it's a shame OKK's had a torrid season, and when he's raced in Kia a couple of times this season, he's had shocking races there. But I will take my hat off to him. He does keep it going.
He does.
You cross the line and you'll get a point.
Yeah, of course, OKK knows that better than anyone. OKK actually a former race winner around here. He won the inaugural throwback race weekend, which was here at Monza, as we've missed an overtake from Ben Harrop. And he won that in his Ferrari that season. And that was his last race win. Can you believe that was 90 race weeks ago, was OKK's last win?
Mind you, mine's probably longer as well.
It won't be that bad. Kia has less races, doesn't it? So, and you've
True.
never won in Cup.
I have not.
some big names down the bottom. Obviously, Pete 106, Jamie Bromley 98, Michael Okeke 90, Risky 88 races since they all last won in this series. And then as you go up the list, some iconic names: Thomas Stewlands, Riley Byes, Paul McGuinness, Matt Bode, Jana Laxon. Fantastic names that have raced in the Cup Series before. Everybody wants a piece of JACKOCAR. And this, as I always say, is its pinnacle. The Cup Series on a Thursday night. The race here in Monza starting to settle down now as we are 8 laps from the end. We're eyes on Jamie Griffiths, who has a couple of cars behind him who aren't closing in. But Leroy is one of them. Sorry, Leroy's ahead. But yeah.
I think Casper's actually he's gone for a spin.
There is a spin.
I think his softs. I think his softs, depending on how old they are, have gone off the cliff.
Pit stops. Gareth in second still needs to make a stop, as does MK Bourne. I do believe. What's the tyre life on? Yeah, Kieran still has to make a stop as well.
Yeah, let's have a look at that then. So Kieran is following Gareth on track. Gareth looking a little slow for the first Lesmo. Maybe his tyres are going off. They are only a lap older than Kieran, who seems to be more planted for the Lesmos. And what's Ben Harrett's situation? He has done 2 stops.
He is good to the end.
This could work out very well.
Kieran has done 2 stops, but he went straight back in to get rid of the hard tyres. So
yes, he did.
It didn't count after the second stage, so he still needs to stop. So I assume he'll be going for soft tyres, fastest lap at the end.
Yeah, that was under the safety car, of course. Welcome to all 11 of you who are still with us here. 6 laps to go in Monza. Kieran does get past Gareth, who he pits. Apologies there. Mike will be following him shortly, and Kieran also. So it looks like then Jake O'Sullivan is cruising to a 4th victory of the season. He hasn't won since Austria, which was 5 weeks ago.
Oh, I think Jamie's gone around behind me here.
He has, and he's not moving at the moment. Oh, careful, Jamie. He's done a Quinn, but he's managed to not hit anyone. Go on, you do a burnout, Jamie. So the situation is not that awful for Jamie because Casper is behind him on track and Yuri is out. And there's yellow flags for...
I think it's for Casper.
Puncher, rear left. But he just about made it to the pit lane anyway.
Yeah.
Well.
Speeding penalty.
Yeah, never mind. So, Casper then, next week, will go to France in a must-win situation. That's the only way he is now going to be able to make it to the Championship 5. Someone who is nearly there is Jake O'Sullivan, who we were just talking about. Like I said, 5 weeks since we've had a Jake win. And Jake currently on 6 Cup Series wins. As we see Iceman getting past Kieran.
Kieran's into the box, soft tyres on. That's him done.
Casper's AI car's pulled back out to the track. I don't know if that will cause any issues.
Not yet. Just yellow flags for the moment. In fact, we're looking at Leroy. Casper's car will move out the way. And at some point it will disappear from our very eyes. It pulls over to the right. Like I say, Casper now in a must-win situation with 1 to go. France and Silverstone remain. MK Bourne still with a stop to make. He is the only one who needs to complete strategy. Everybody else, I believe, is good.
So
Certainly looking at it.
in a lap before Kieran. Kieran's come back out behind him, and the battle continues between them two.
Yeah.
Get behind and be down soon.
Oh, Jake O'Sullivan pits. Surely not. You guys won't see this, but I've just panned to Ben Harrett. Surely not.
Ooh.
Surely not. Where's Jake? Jake's there. So
He's gonna
Ben
be behind
Harrop.
him.
Ben Harrop leads this race. Leroy
tell you what,
is P5.
with my experience on the softs, I think pitting for softs this early before the end of the race could be a bad decision. Tyre wear could come in a huge factor towards the end of the race here.
If I told you he hasn't pitted for softs, he's on the mediums, is Ben Harrop. Jake O'Sullivan did pit for softs, but I think he'll be alright, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah. I'm thinking more about Kieran and Gareth behind me.
I'm not worried about that. I'm looking at the battle for the lead, Jamie Griffiths. And at the moment, it's half a second. Ben Harrop versus Ben Shaw. Do you remember in Austria when I said, Jake O'Sullivan, do you have a heart? When he was chasing down Yori for the race win? It's much the same situation here. One of the league's finest versus a man who the wins are few and far between. And Ben Shaw will just wait and wait and wait. He knows the DRS is coming. But what a shame. Ben Harrop. You never know. It could, the win could still be on the cards, but Ben Shaw's going to make this look very easy as we begin lap 24. DRS open, a little bit of ERS deployment. I think Ben Harrop's doing the same.
He's not going to make it easy, is he?
Oh, he is. Yeah. No. Thinking of the bigger picture then is the other Ben, the midfield man, who's actually going to stay on the rear fender of Ben Shaw before slotting back in behind him. Looks left, looks right. He's got to give it a go, hasn't he? What he also has to keep in mind is that he is P2 and Leroy is P4. Leroy will not get a playoff point because he won't be on the podium there. So Ben Harrop will get one for second. So he would score 16 points and Leroy would score 13. So the gap would be -1. Ben Harrop would be -1 to Leroy going into France next week, where anything can happen. It is the Paul Ricard Super Speedway.
Yes. As much as Ben would want the win, you know, Ben Shaw, he just wants all the records done, so he's not going to hang about. He's going to shoot off into the distance, and it's 1.5 gap already.
Yeah. And
Kajman, Jake is flying.
Yeah, he will protect Ben Harrop. Jake doesn't need the points. He is better off defending from Leroy, who's actually in a fight with Kieran. And surely, sorry, I'm looking at the Kieran-Jamie battle. My apologies. Gareth's there as well.
Yeah,
Where is
Kieran's managed to get the pair of them because he was behind Gareth. I've missed that.
So have I. Oh well, nobody cares. It's Kieran. Go on, Jamie. Send it. Through Delarogier they go.
Turning now.
And yeah, it's Leroy who is very much on his own.
Jake's going for P2. He's got it.
I wonder if he's going to possibly give that back at the end, but
you know, he's not far off Ben. Maybe Jake wants to win here.
I mean, ART and Speed pride themselves on being excellent teams when it comes to this sort of thing. Surely Jake should realise that the win, sorry, not the win, the extra point for being P2 is more valuable to Ben Harrop than what a P2 is for Jake. In fact, that's risky.
Yeah, so I thought he was letting him back through. Is Ben Harriott in ART or Keep Speed?
He's ART. And now his life is going to be made hell by risky. This happened to me in Mexico the other day when I was...
Gareth just bugged me off.
Yeah. We will cover that in a second. As Ben does get through on risky. I thought that was going to be a lot harder. I just had memories of Mexico last week where I had Yori behind me and he had to deploy his teammate to intervene in the final corner, let's say.
There's
Is
not
Gareth.
enough laps left. I was just thinking maybe Jake is trying to pass Ben and hold Ben up so then Ben Shaw can get back in the hunt. But we've only got a lap and a half to go. I don't think that's possible.
Maybe, and here goes Jamie
DRS
Griffiths.
range.
Jamie Griffiths gets back past Gareth with a bit of DRS. We don't care about that though, because into Parabolica becomes Ben Shaw. And here in Monza, it's 1 lap to go, not sponsored by Credit One Bank because we're not legally allowed to say that. And we have no affiliation with the Credit One Bank or team at all. I have tried DMing them on Twitter though, but to no avail. The gap is around half a second. Jake is being greedy and trying to take points away from Ben Shaw when he should be giving the extra point to Ben Harrett. That is my belief. That's what I'd be doing if I was a real team player, like I am, instead of going for the win. Jake O'Sullivan sits on 6 wins all time, and Ben Shaw sits on 8, so they are both trying to chase another victory each. Who knows how this one will finish, because here is a DRS zone. It's Jake versus Ben once again. It's come down to the final lap. Let's go on board then with the catchman. Iceman is defensive. There's yellow flags. Risky is out of this one. And Ben Shaw keeps it between the lines, but is there enough DRS available? An ERS, sorry, for Jake O'Sullivan. Ben weaves left and right, trying to dispose of the threat, but into Parabolica they come for the final time. He makes a little error, has to check up, but so does Jake O'Sullivan, and that will gift the win to Ben Shaw. And now Jake does exactly what I was saying he should do, and Ben Harrett will be P2 in Monza. Excellent teamwork in the end. He heard me. Jake O'Sullivan will get 3rd, and Leroy will be 4th. That is how it should be done.
It's going to be tight. Oh,
This will
Kieran
be
gave it his all.
P7 now.
And I had to cough there, sorry. Jamie Griffiths' penalty puts him down to P7. MK Bourne recovers to P8. Kyle is backwards. Rico gets a top 10. Fair play, good drive from him. And Jess P11 becomes P10 because of penalties.
Yep.
Jamie Wright will finish, not very well, but he will finish. And of course, you've only got to look at 16th and 18th, where his rivals are. He is looking good for the Championship 5. Oh, I'm just about running out of voice here, gents.
Congratulations on driver of the day, Jamie.
Well, that's what the game says. I'm not going to get it in the poll later on.
No, absolutely undeserved.
Yeah. I think I should have.
And Jake will round off the podium in P3 and takes the fastest lap at the end of the race. Leroy will take 4th with Kieran in P5. Gareth and with Excite in P12. Jamie will be P13. Risky crashing out at the end is classified as 14th. And the runners.
Yep. So with Risky's crash, what it will do is promote OKK to 14th there. Because Risky classified in game, but such as the way our rules work, not classified in the race result. So yeah, KKP 14. That was quite good in the end, wasn't it? I quite enjoyed that.
It was quite fun, yeah. I don't know anything that's happened at the front, but I had a nice battle there with Gareth at the end. He mugged me off going into turn 1, sent it completely up the inside, Ricardo style, and I got him back and beat him on track, but he had the penalty. Well, sorry, I had the penalty, but it is what it is. Happy with that, though. Just happy to get back in the top 10.
Yeah, good stuff from you, Jamie. I don't know if you fancy having another game because another go, because the game has decided to load me straight back into another Monza session, of which I am here, I think, by myself, as everyone else leaves the session. How fitting that Codemasters...
I think it's been a bit of a disconnect.
Not apart from me.
No.
But in all seriousness, gents, thank you both for joining us this evening.
No worries.
As I was plugging throughout the majority of that race, it is Paul Ricard, the Super Speedway next week. Limited rules on that one. And Casper and Yuri in must-win situations. Meanwhile, in the chase, the gap is 1 point between Leroy and Ben Harrett. Do be sure to join us. It's 2 races to go in the Cup Series.